Thank you, Dr. Squyres and Mr. Young. It's always good to have you here, and I just really appreciate the value that you provide for the committee. As I read your testimony and listened to you today, what I heard is that I think we actually can agree on some of the broad concepts of the bill, including identifying a roadmap to Mars, as we've just discussed, maintaining a balanced and steady agenda for NASA's programs as a multi-mission agency, and taking a look at how we can assure the effectiveness of the agency's leadership in maintaining a long-term vision. But there are some aspects of the draft bill that I think are really problematic, and I wonder if you could discuss with some level of detail, and Dr. Squyres, you did, but Mr. Young, I wonder if we could have a comment from you about this idea of a sustained presence on the Moon and Mars, because there is where I do think that there is some significant division in the details. And I wonder if you might comment as well about some of the things that we could ask for in a roadmap and a timetable that would allow us as a committee to look at what NASA is doing and ask those questions in detail without prescribing the scientific detail for the agency.
The comment I'd make on the Moon question that you have is the following. I do not believe that landing on the Moon or operations on the Moon is a prerequisite to going to Mars. So if Mars, given Mars as the focus, then it's not necessary, and it's probably a significant resource consumer that will take away from the time and the effort to go to Mars. I also don't want to imply that the Moon is a useless location, and so that's not, from my standpoint, what's not meant to be implied at all. I mean, I think there's enormous research, understanding, and benefit that can be derived from a mission to the lunar surface. I just think that if our focus is on Mars, it's not a necessary prerequisite, and it's an enormous consumer of resources, including time, and it really takes away from the basic thrust of a Mars roadmap.
Dr. Squyres?
Well, I certainly agree with Tom that the reason to go to the surface of the Moon is not to help us get to Mars, it's to go to the Moon. And with respect to what you could ask for in a roadmap, certainly asking what are the appropriate technologies is the right thing to do. Certainly asking what vehicles, what specific pieces of hardware are appropriate to get the job done. And then I think there are a range of different milestones that could be looked at. Clearly, lunar orbit is a sensible first milestone. Whether there's a rock there that's been directed from an asteroid that's been brought in or not, it's the right place to go. The other milestones you could look at include the lunar surface. They include a near-Earth object of significant size. They include the moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos. They include operations in Mars orbit, which is clearly going to be necessary. So I think you could lay out the range of possible milestones and ask the agency, okay, with these possibilities, what are the right ones that will get us most efficiently to the long-term goal? And then, what are the specific technologies? What are the specific pieces of hardware that are necessary? And one other thing that I would add is that I think it would be valuable to ask the agency and to more broadly ask the question, once we've identified the vehicles, once we've identified the technologies, are there ones in there that could be sensibly provided by an international partner to help spread the costs?
Thank you very much, because I think that would help us actually develop an authorization that would be useful to the agency without us as lawmakers, without the requisite experience pointing out the details of what it is that the agency should do. So I appreciate that. I want to ask you very quickly, both of you, the draft bill proposes to make drastic cuts in NASA's Earth Science program. at a time when natural disasters here at home in the U.S. and abroad are wreaking havoc on individuals, businesses, municipalities, the entire economic system. And so I wonder if you could share with me what you think the proposed cuts in the legislation mean to our ability to understand, predict, monitor, and respond to natural disasters and to climate change.
I'm deeply concerned about the magnitude of the proposed cuts to earth science, just as I was deeply concerned about the magnitude of the proposed cuts to planetary science in the administration budget. There needs to be a balance found. There needs to be a compromise found in which the cuts, if they have to be directed to space science, are spread more sensibly across the different disciplines. With respect to earth science, the National Research Council's decadal survey for earth science has very nicely spelled out a sequence of missions, a series of activities that could be conducted by NASA studying the Earth from space. And those have broad benefits, both in the specific areas that benefit humans that you outlined, but also just across the broad sweep of understanding the Earth as a complex system. The climate system, the geology of the Earth, the oceans, the sea ice, all of those are interconnected in a very complex way. And these missions are necessary to understand that system. And there are unexpected discoveries awaiting. There are unexpected consequences of flying these missions.